Yo, how's it going? It is Calamity here, bringing you guys my most requested video, the Apex Legends controller movement guide. In this video, I'm going to be going over the movement mechanics that I use the most in my gameplay and to show you guys how to do them and also answer some of my most frequently asked questions about movement. Okay, let's get started. The most important thing when it comes to having good movement on controller is being able to jump, slide, and interact without having to take your thumbs off of your thumbsticks. So this is where your settings come into play. Players who use paddles or play claw grip don't really have much of a problem with this, but if you do play with a standard Xbox or PS4 controller and a standard grip, you may need to mess with your settings to allow you to do this. Apex makes it very easy to customize each input on your controller with this customize option right here. You can mess with these. It could be a little awkward changing your buttons around, but as I said, being able to jump, crouch, and interact without having to take your thumbs off of your thumbsticks is very important to having good movement. So don't be afraid to mess around with these and figure out what you are most comfortable with. Personally, I use a Scuff Impact controller which has 4 paddles on the back with a default button layout. And my paddle binds from left to right are X, square, triangle, and circle. And if you would like to see the rest of my settings, there will be a link in the description for that. Alright, let's get into the guide. The very first thing I want to talk about is something super basic that most of you probably know, but that is when you are running around the map, make sure that you have your fist out as much as possible because you do have increased movement speed while running with your fist out. And also slide jumping. Make sure you slide jump just how I'm doing right now. Make sure you do this as much as possible because this is the fastest way to move around the map. The next thing I want to talk about is bee hopping, which looks like this. And basically there's 2 ways to do this, depending on if you play toggle crouch or hold the crouch. Me personally, I play toggle crouch, so how I do it is I just start with a slide jump. And after that, as I'm in the air, I hold my circle up until I touch the ground. As soon as I touch the ground, I press X to jump back up. And then as I'm in the air, I hold circle again until I hit the ground the second time, and I just repeat that process over and over. Now how you do it with hold the crouch, it's actually a lot more simpler. You just start off with a slide and you continuously hold circle throughout the whole thing and jump as soon as you touch the ground every single time. So I'm just constantly holding my circle down as I'm doing this. It's all about just getting the timing down. Once you get the timing down, you're really just good to go from there. You can also turn left and right by pointing your left stick in the direction you want to go, while slowly turning your right stick left or right, depending on which way you want to turn. Now the next thing we're going to get into is wall jumping. This is how it's going to look. Now the steps to wall jumping is basically started off with a slide jump to get momentum. And you're going to want to look directly at the wall or whatever surface you're trying to jump off of. And basically, as soon as you touch the wall, you're going to want to jump again. And just aim your left stick at any direction you want to go as soon as you jump. So if you're trying to go backwards, you just pull back and turn and then start pushing forward again. Also, wall jumping can be used to cancel the animation you get from mantling. Now you can wall jump basically off of any surface. Doesn't matter how thin it is or how small it is. If you can mantle it, you can wall jump off of it. Now I'm going to show you guys some clips of me actually using wall jumping in fights. Alright. Alright, moving on, we got zip lines. There is a lot of different ways to use zip lines to your advantage to outplay your opponents. The first zipline trick and the most basic one is just the launch off of it. How you do this is you just interact and then jump off it almost simultaneously. So the next thing I'm going to show you guys is zipline bouncing. Basically, when you're riding across a zipline, you're a pretty easy target unless you do this, which is basically interact and jumping off just simultaneously. You could also stay in one spot and not even move if you wanted to. To add a little more to it, if someone is shooting straight on at you from like the other side, what you can do is strafe left and right, which I'm just pulling left or right on my left stick while slightly turning my right stick, whichever direction I want to go. Makes it harder for someone to hit you from straight on. The next thing I'm going to go over is zipline strafing, which looks like this. So basically how you do this is you zipline launch, how we talked about earlier, by interacting and jumping off immediately after. But after you do that, you're going to want to 180 and do it again and again until you get the rhythm down to make it all the way to the top. This is probably one of the most advanced movement techniques that I will be talking about, but with enough practice is definitely something you can add to your gameplay and brings a lot of value. One of the main reasons to learn this movement is when someone has high ground on you and they're just pre-aiming down the zip. The last thing you want to do is take the zip line straight up, because they're just going to one mag you. So being able to jump left and right makes you really hard to hit. Another zipline technique that I use to get floor to floor in these buildings when someone has the high ground on you is this right here. Which also makes it harder for you to get shot at rather than just hitting the zip and jumping off. So you are constantly moving across this person's screen if they're looking down at you. So basically how you do this, you do the zipline launch the same way you do when you're strafing all the way to the top, but you only do it twice. Alright, that is going to be all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helps some of you out. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to see a part 2 to this, where I talk about more like micro movement stuff and maybe some more advanced techniques. And for those of you who do not know, I do stream on Twitch almost every single day. There will be a link in the description for my channel. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.